So imagine spending 15 years of your life going through homelessness, 7 years in BC and Victoria, and having somebody tell me how homelessness happens and how how it all works, coming from some random guy off of Reddit. This is what I'm talking about. This is the problem. People thinking they know what they're talking about when they never been through it. So here's the thing. You can pause this and read what my response is. But this guy's saying your facts are all opinions. Now, I don't know how my facts could be opinions when my facts come from real life lived experience of being homeless in the streets for 15 years. It doesn't get any more factual than that. In fact, everybody else's opinion or facts are actually opinion versus real life experience. Real life experience beats all. Now you can go ahead and Google me, Corey Resilient. You can see I got Steel City tatted to my wrist, I it's quite obvious. Go listen to my music. Sincere music. I'm on iTunes, Spotify, everything. My resume is wide open for anybody to see that clearly. I grew up in the street all my life, and I never used drugs because I saw what it did to my dad, of him using needles in front of me, doing heroin, smoking crack, growing up in a trap house with prostitutes and gangsters and drug dealers and murderers. That's the difference between me and this guy. And guess what? This is the difference between me and the majority of people. 98% of people have not endured or experienced or went through what I did and never will in their life. But 98% of people are the ones that are telling us, the homeless people, that our opinions or our so-called facts are just opinions that are inaccurate. Now, I don't know how this ignorance exists, bitch. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how this ignorance exists. And this is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem of why there's division in between people of poverty, people that grew up in the street, forced into criminal elements since they were a child, even by their own guardians, maybe even molested by their own parents. And we got these people, 98% of people, that never been through shit in their fucking lives, but they think that they know what they're talking about, right? So if you want to know where the problem's coming from, it's from people that think that they know what they're talking about but never been through it, So without these corrupt programs, many of the homeless in Victoria would either be dead or living as criminals, stealing food and poverty to survive. Well, guess what? Here's my answer to that. These organizations suck up all the resources and raise hundreds and thousands into the millions of dollars from the community, and exhaust and mishandle and misuse resource intentionally for their own monetary gain and benefit. And here's the thing. Is it too much to ask for these people that are running these organizations to just be honest and not be greedy? Or does it have to be one or the other? Corruption is allowed, greed is allowed, fraud, theft is allowed, stealing from the most vulnerable population, and generating millions of dollars in the name of homelessness, but giving less than the bare minimum to the homeless intentionally, so that way homelessness cannot fully evolve out of its current state, so these people can continue to profit. Is that too much to ask for? Is for them to just do their job and do what they're supposed to be doing in the first place? Now, if you don't believe these things are happening, there's only one answer to that, and the answer is you've never been homeless, period. So until you go and be homeless for months, years, don't tell me what the truth is and what the truth isn't, and what the facts are and what opinions are, because your statement is based on lack of real life experience. So you're already in the wrong. You can't voice anything if you haven't actually experienced it. I've been on both sides of the fence. Not only have I been homeless for a decade more, but I've also been employed to organizations around homelessness advocacy and got to see the inner workings of these organizations. So I bet you this person has, not only have they not been homeless, but they've also never went from homeless from a tent to a condo and got employed to organizations that advocate for the homeless. So where is his basis coming from? Where is his basis of knowledge and understanding and factual matter founded on? Nothing. So people like this are the problem. So if there's always going to be people that don't want to hear the truth and aren't willing to accept the truth. It makes their lives more comfortable, right? And then also, it doesn't matter to a lot of people, they just have to be right. Now, I had to go through the experience to understand what was right and what wasn't. I used to have the same perspective as everybody else until it happened to me, until I went through the process and I realized something was very wrong. So experience, knowledge, and understanding come from real life experience. Now, I challenge anybody. You want to come outside? You want to come be homeless? I will leave my place and be homeless for months with you and have to rely on all these resources, so-called resources, with you for months. I challenge anybody. I'll put up $1,000. You want to raise money? You guys want to talk about things you don't know what you're talking about? And try to tell the people that do know that they don't know what they're talking about? Well, how about this? I challenge anybody, whoever wants to do it, let's spend, I'll even say 2 months. And that's not even enough time at all to understand or feel out or experience the injustice and corruption that's going on through these organizations and these shelters that claim to be here to help. But it'll be enough. It'll be just enough to give you a small understanding and a little bit of a perspective. And I bet you $1,000 that nobody will take me up on this. Nobody that, this has to be someone that's never been homeless and thinks that I'm wrong. Okay, put your money where your mouth is. I'll put up a G, you put up a G, and we'll spend 2 months homeless together. How about that? That's my word. My word is bond, bro. I'm not playing around. I've done 15 years homeless. I could do that sitting on my head. Okay, you guys can't. I'm telling you right now, it'll destroy you. It'll destroy everything about you. Just 2 months. You won't make the 2 months, period. It's too extreme. And you're not allowed to rely on your skills. You're not allowed to rely on your career skills or anything like that. You can't have no money, and you can't rely on your current career or job to support you while you're going through this. You have to experience extreme homelessness with nothing, no skills, no references, no family, no parents, no support system, nothing, zero, on your own for 2 months. Not even, you don't even get a tent. You're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna do that. You might even have to panhandle. How about that? Because that's the reality. Okay, that's the real reality for homeless people. They have no way to elevate themselves out of that circumstance. So until you go through it, you're gonna think, oh, I could do that, and watch me just watch. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks, everybody talks until it's time. So that's what I have to say to this. Now, here's the thing. This statement basically says that, okay, without these corrupt programs, all the homeless would die. Okay, so does that mean if we get to have these resources, which there's plenty of resource and plenty of people in the community that contribute financially to this, and these organizations sucked it all up, stole it all, and put it towards their mortgage, okay? So if they didn't do that, is what I'm saying. If they just did what they were supposed to do and what they set out to do, this wouldn't be a problem the way that it is. It would have been solved. But if the problem is solved, there's no need for a solution. If there's no need for a solution, there's no need for any funding towards the problem. Do you not understand that? This keeps people employed, and it keeps people having hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars in their pockets, okay? Again, I am going to address every single comment, every single person that challenges me, that thinks they know what they're talking about. Put your money where your mouth is. You want to talk about homelessness and say you know where it comes from mental health and addiction. No, homelessness creates addiction and mental health. It almost killed me. I don't use drugs, and I had no mental health issues. And when I became homeless, and the system was literally built and designed in a systematic way against me, and every shelter and organization that claimed to be there to help was trying to literally interfere with my ability to leverage myself out of homelessness in a systematic way, I started to develop mental health problems, and I had to get a grip of myself. And I said, you know what? This is exactly what happens. The system chews you up and spits you out. Society laughs at you, spits at you, says it's your fault, puts the blame on the individual. Well, this is why I created this organization, Victoria BC Profits, is because the real truth is, it's not the individual, it is the system. And the system is not broken, it is intentionally designed, maliciously, to capitalize and profit off of homelessness, mental health, and addiction. To create the problem so that way they can create the solution, so that way they can get funding for it and profit from it. And then only supply less than the bare minimum, so that way it stays where it is. So that way next year they can say, see, it's still a problem. We're going to need another 100 million again this year, but we made 10% progression. So that's a sign of hope. You guys are so easily tricked, gullible, because you've never been in the streets, you've never been homeless, you've never been involved in criminal elements. You don't know what you're talking about. You lack the experience. And this is why you can't see what's happening.